Happy Halloween! My name is Karen. I'm from Banyan Theatre Company. I'm here with In Your Space Circus, and I'm going to show you today how to make something very magical. We are going to make a spooky spell book. I have one here to show you that I've made already, and you can see I've done a gargoyle, a scary face on here, but you can make it any way you want. You can choose, you can do a face, or you can do a ghost. Maybe you want to put a monster on there, or some chains, or something very simple. But I'm going to show you step by step how we make this. So you need a few simple things. What you need is, first of all, you need a toilet roll. Very important. You need some paper. This can be a magazine or a newspaper, anything at all. And you need some tin foil. You need some white glue. Now, this glue is glue that you basically use at school. It's called PVA. Sometimes it's known as wood glue. I got this in the pound shop, so it's very cheap and very easy to get, but you might well have maybe a little container of it in the house. And of course, you need a book. Now, once again, another one I got in the pound shop. This is just a plain book. I'm going to put all my magic spells in here afterwards, but maybe you've got an old diary in the house, or maybe you have a hardback book. Have a little look around, see if you've got something. You won't necessarily have to buy it. First thing we're going to do, we are going to cut a piece of paper to go on the front of it. So I've got some paper here, and I have a pen here, and I'm going to lie my book on top of here and draw around it. Really simple. I just want to get the paper the right size. Here we go. And you can see I've got that ready to go. So, pair of scissors and chop it out. As I say, you can use like a page from a magazine or a newspaper if you want. It doesn't have to be new paper. In fact, sometimes using some old paper is good. You can even keep the print on it afterwards. It might look really nice and spooky. So that's a paper. Now, I've got my PVA glue. I've already put it into a container, and I have a brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just brush the PVA onto the book. I'm going to cover the whole front cover with it. Make sure you get plenty on. Now, especially important that you get it on at the edges, just so the edges don't curl up once you've put your paper on. So cover your book. There we are. Put it down the ridge, and that's me covered. So I'm going to literally take my piece of paper and stick it on top of it. And once I've stuck it on, like so, I'm going to make sure I push it down really well, get all the edges in. And then once I've done that, and I've smoothed it all out, I'm going to take some more glue and paint it over the top. Now, have a think of the design you want. You could have, if you wanted, you could have drawn your design on there already. And like I say, it doesn't have to be a face. In fact, you can even take some things you might have in your garden, like some old leaves, or some branches, anything you might find around the house, maybe a small spoon that you could stick on, or you might have some old toys you want to put on. You can then do the paper mache over the top of that. But you can see we're ready here for the next stage. This is where it gets messy. It's also good fun. So, tin foil. You're going to take a piece of your tin foil and you'll start to make the shape. Now, tin foil's great because it's so flexible. You can make any shape at all. So what I'm going to do, the first thing you can see on my book is it's all built out, it's three-dimensional. I'm going to make the nose to start me off. So I'm going to roll up the tin foil and I'm going to create a nose. There we go. You could make a big witch's nose to sniff. And I'm going to stick that with a bit of glue, put glue on the back of it and stick it down. And that is the very first stage. So nose goes on first, and then you keep building it up. It's quite simple. You're going to roll. I've done hair a bit like a Medusa, like snake hair. So what I did for that was I rolled up like this, and just make sure you've got plenty of glue on there, a bit on your tin foil. And then what I did was I just curled it up onto the page. So lots of curling like so, just curl it up. But I'm going to keep building basically. I'm going to make the mouth and the bulk it out for the cheeks. So I'm going to do the mouth bit next. So I'm going to just build that round like so and pop it down. Now the book is already quite sticky, so it's quite good, so I can just keep sticking to it. And take another piece. I'm going to make the cheeks. There we are. And you can see basically how it's building up. Now, it's good to just think about all the bits that you want to stand out. Like I want eyeballs on here. So what I do for an eyeball is I just take a piece of this, maybe a little bit too big, and roll it into a ball, literally. And I've got a little ball piece, and then I'm going to stick that on. You keep building that up. So I want to show you the whole full stages of this. I'm going to move on to the next bit. The next bit is to start using your paper mâché. So I'll put one little bit more on here, just so you can see. Actually, a wee bit bigger. There we go. So once I've got that completely covered how I want it, that's when I start using the toilet roll. Now, you've got your PVA, your white glue, in your container. What you want to do is you want to add just a tiny touch of water to it. Cheers. And mix that into it. It means that your glue goes a little bit further, but it's also a little bit easier to do the paper mâché this way. So I've got that mixed in. And what I'm going to do is start covering it. So take my toilet roll. To begin with, I'm just going to put a few wee sheets over the top of it. Just so lie over the top and use your glue just to start forming it in. Very simple. So you just start building it around, cover all the tin foil with the toilet roll, and then you can also add some more bulk with the toilet roll too. So once you've got that covered, you can start bulking it out. So I'm going to use some of my toilet tissue and I'm going to put it into my glue, lovely and messy, and I'm going to make some cheeks to sit on top of the ones I've already done. But I'm going to build it because I want it to be a little bit higher, so I'm going to keep building it in this way. And I could even make my eyeballs out of this if I preferred. You can see it's lovely to work with. Perfect for Halloween. Messy. There we are. And you basically keep building that up. Very simple. One more. I'll do one more piece and I'll show you. Now, it does take a little bit of time to dry. So once you've got this together, you need to dry it. If you want to be really quick about drying it, so you can move on to the next bit, then you can use a hairdryer. Just be very careful. Keep the hairdryer at a bit of a distance from it. So just wipe my hands off here. So you can see now, as you start to build that up, that's what happens. Cover the whole thing in your toilet tissue. The more you put on, the better it will be at the end. And the good thing about the tissue is you can actually get it really smooth. Once it starts to dry a little bit, push into it a little bit and it'll smooth off a bit. So next stage. So that one, you just need to let it dry. And once you've got that dry, then you should end up with something like this. You can see it's three-dimensional if I put it sideways, and all of the wee bits and pieces are standing out. Now, the one thing I didn't do on here was to put my eyeballs on, so I'm going to stick them on now. So I'm going to make a couple of little eyeballs. I'm going to do mine just out of tissue. Roll them up into a ball. There we are. And push it on, stick it on. Same on the other one. Push it on, stick it on. These are great even for gifts. You could make a few different ones and they would be great. You could make even Christmas themed ones. That'll be the next celebration. So you can make them up. You can start making them for Halloween and you can make them for gifts for people. And you can see I've got my eyes on now. And the next stage is to paint it. Now, I'm going to close this one away. I have got acrylic paint here, but any paint will do. If you've got some poster paint, even if maybe you've had your bedroom or the house painted and you've got some paint left over, then that paint works just as well. I've got these ones here, and I've got a silver and a black, but you can use any color you want. In fact, if you don't have paint, you can even use some felt tip pens. They would work well too. If you make it really bright and bold and think about how you want it. So what I've done with my ones, I've covered the whole thing, first of all, in silver paint. So make sure you get into all the wee nooks and crannies. And keep covering it. Now, just so the colours stand out even more, you can do a bit of shading, relief painting on it. So once you've covered in the base colour, as I say, I'm using silver, but you can use anything. What you want to do is you want to take a darker tone and you want to put it in the areas that are deeper. So I'll just put a really light covering over here. So if that's covered, I want to put just little dark bits around the eyes and maybe in the little creases. So in here, I have a little bit. Anywhere where it's darker, that is a bit lower down, then you can cover it with a bit of black or dark blue, or maybe you could have even used like a goldy colour. So here we go. And you can see I'm starting to cover it with the darker colour. And what you can do then is take a little piece of your tissue again, and if you wipe over the top of it, then all the areas that you want dark will stay dark, and all the areas that you want lighter will stay lighter. You could even paint the whole thing in the second colour and wipe it off again. That's another way of doing it. And then you will have your magical spell book, just like mine. So cover it any way you want. And of course, once you've got your spell book, you need to put some spells inside. And I've got one I've written inside my book. Take the tail of a rabbit and the hoof of a goat. Crush them together with the oar of a boat. Swallow a spoonful, and then on water you will float. And of course, if you have a magic wand, you can make it extra magical. You can wave your wand, and maybe you've got a wizard hat or a witch's hat. I'm sure you're going to have a great fun making this. Happy Halloween. Enjoy making your spell book.